Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Reclaiming Your Health. I am your host, C.C. Péan, and I'm so happy to be here with you this evening. Happy holidays, belated happy Thanksgiving. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you all did too. We hosted about 20 people at our home, and it was wonderful. Um, Wanted to do it last year, but we couldn't because of COVID. But this year, all of us were, vaccinated and boosted. We're on that side of the fence, and so we were excited to be able to get together. My second family, the Campbells, were there. We had worship before Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. We had Vespers on Friday night, and then on Sabbath, we had church and we had leftovers. So we had a full, wonderful weekend, and I hope you all did too. In light of the fact that we just had Thanksgiving, and I'm sure quite a few of you who are watching indulged a bit much, I wanted to kind of go back to the lighter, cleaner side for this evening. And so this evening we are going to be making grilled cauliflower steaks with a Mediterranean relish, chili, relish salsa type of thing. I love cauliflower because it is very basic, very simple, but it takes on flavor very, very easily, and you can take it in any direction you want to go. And this evening we're going to the Mediterranean. So, and let me tell you, I'm doing steaks, but if you don't want to do steaks and you want to just do like cauliflower florets, that works well with this as well. So I found the biggest cauliflower I could, pretty big. And interestingly enough, cauliflower has gotten to be quite expensive. I mean, a lot of things have gotten expensive. This cauliflower cost me $4.19. So, little pricey, but your health is your wealth. So we're not trying to be cheap about our health. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull off these green things. I'm not going to core it. We don't want to core our cauliflower because if we do that, it's going to fall apart. And the core is integral to us actually having steaks. So I'm just going to go around and see what I'm doing. Pull these off. Keeping that core intact. Excellent. Dump this. So let me tell you what we're going to be putting in our Mediterranean salsa or relish. We've got some fresh basil. Got 3 fresh basil leaves. I've got about a cup of grape or cherry tomatoes. You can also use Roma tomatoes if you want to. I've got some fresh parsley. I've got some Capistrano olives and some capers under there. I've got 2 cloves of garlic. And I've got what I think is literally like the best feta cheese in life. I think it's even better than real feta, BioLife feta. Now we're going to be kind of doing a raw relish salsa, but if you wanted to cook it, you could. That's not a problem. You could put a little bit of heat under it, but I like the brightness and the freshness and the crispness of it being raw. So I'm going to get started cutting this, and we want to cut it kind of thick because we want to make it like a steak. Now, this doesn't always work out perfectly, and like I told you, if it falls apart, you can always use florets. But what we're aiming for are steaks. So you see how that came off? And so now I'm going to cut straight down. Okay. I don't want to cut all the way through because cutting all the way through is what helps you to maintain the steak because that stock holds everything together. Got two, cut one more. Okay, so we've got three here. Alrighty. We've got three pretty healthy steaks here. Just gonna put these aside for now, obviously. They can be used for this. You can grind them down in your food processor and you can make, just gonna take a little bit of the stem off of this. You can make cauliflower rice, do all kinds of things with cauliflower. Cauliflower is the new black in the food world. All right, so move this out of the way. Got three beautiful steaks here. And just you can be careful to trim away. You want to try to trim these and get them as flat as possible because we're going to pan grill them and we want like a uniform color on them. So one of the things that I like to do to my cauliflower is I'm going to turn the stove on. I'm just going to do a little bit of salt and pepper on it. Now you can also sprinkle some garlic powder, onion powder. You can do all of that. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on here. Whatever your favorite seasoning is, you can put it on here. You can even grind up fresh herbs and like brush it on. This is another one of those dishes that I talk about. It would be a great side dish or a main dish. And when you're in the plant-based world, you learn to make main dishes out of side dishes. And really, seeing something as exclusively a side dish is, you know, we're past that. Our focus should be nutrition, not necessarily what is appropriate for breakfast or lunch or dinner. Okay, so we are going to move over to the stove. Okay, we are at the stove now. So I've got my pan going. I have a nice large pan. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm going to make sure that's all over the pan. You can also use spray oil if you like. So now I'm just going to take these steaks, I'm going to put them right in the pan. And these are going to grill for about 2 minutes each. And while that's happening, we're going to get started on our relish. We're playing musical chairs this evening. So that's going to go for about 2 minutes. So let's get started on this. This is very easy. Got my little bowl here. I've got my 3 basil leaves. I'm just going to roll these really tightly. I know you've seen me do this before. And I'm just going to julienne this like thin little slivers. And then I'm going to go like this. We don't want big chunks of anything. smells so great. All right, so there are basil leaves. They're going to go in our bowl. We're going to cut up our tomatoes. You can do these in halves or fourths if you want. Ooh, my knife is not as sharp as it should be. We're going to do about a cup of tomatoes. I love these tomatoes because I can get them in so many different colors, and you know me, I like things to not only taste good, but to look good as well. We're probably just about ready. I'm going to have to use a different knife. We're just about ready. Flip over. Folks, make sure your knives are nice and sharp. In all fairness, these are not my knives. These are the knives at my work kitchen, but all the more reason that they should be sharp. Let me check on my cauliflower. And a little bit longer to go. Back to our tomatoes. Something that I love to add whenever I use tomatoes in a dish is cumin. I think cumin just adds a really nice warmth to it. And because this is a Mediterranean dish, it's even more appropriate. That's one of those flavors that's definitely Mediterranean, North African, and nature. All right, I think we've got a good amount of tomatoes there. Let's check the cauliflower again. Okay, we're just going to flip them and we're going to let it cook for a couple more minutes on the opposite side. Let's get our parsley loosely. I wonder if any of you made the corn pudding that we made together a few weeks ago for Thanksgiving. I fixed that, and it was a hit. That's plenty parsley there. Let's do our garlic. Now, fresh garlic might be a little spicy for some with this. If that's the case, you can either omit it, go straight into the little bowl there, or you can oven roast it. That'll take a little bit of the bite off of that. I'm using green olives. You can use black olives. I know there's some people that cannot stand olives, so you could omit that altogether and just focus on the tomatoes, the parsley, the basil. You can even put some chopped onion in here. You could do some scallions, which I'm actually going to add. Boy, these knives tonight are giving me a hard time. Another reason you should make sure your knives are sharp, even though it might seem counterintuitive, is that you don't cut yourself. When your knives are not sharp and you have to kind of struggle to cut things, you have a greater chance of hurting yourself. So make sure that your knives are sharp. Okay, that's done. The last thing we're going to put, the second to the last thing we're going to put in here is some capers. Capers have this wonderful, briny kind of sea flavor to it. I like to mince them though. I don't like to put them whole in. Okay. And that's going in. Alrighty. And the last thing, I corrected myself, that's going to go in here is going to be our feta. But first, let me check these steaks. Okay, our steaks are looking good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this pan in the oven for about 15 minutes. Turn the stove off and let's continue with our relish. So I love this feta. It is so creamy and it's made with coconut oil. It's just delightful. If you have any lactose issues or if you don't have lactose issues and you're just trying to break free from the cheese bondage, this is the product for you. You know what happens with a lot of people, so I'm cutting about a third of it. What happens with a lot of people who transition from meat, most often they become vegetarian first, and cheese is like the vegetarian's meat. And I even know with myself that I went overboard. When cheese was all that I could eat, I ate copious amounts of it, and it's really not good for you. And fortunately, in time, they have gotten much better with these cheese products. And you know as well that I'm not somebody who is a big proponent of them, but from time to time, they are delightful to have. So I'll put that in there. Last piece. This again is one of those dishes that you could do on a platter, and it just is beautiful. It plates beautifully. All right, so we've got all our things in here now. We're just going to simply mix this up. You could add a little salt and pepper to this if you wanted. I think the capers and the olives and the cheese are salty enough. You could even cut the components. You could dice them a little more or mince them a little more if you don't like this chunky, but I like it chunky. So we're just mixing this to make sure that it's well incorporated. And it looks amazing. Let me grab a spoon so I can fix it. That is delicious. That is absolutely delicious. One of those things where you are not going to miss the meat. However, if you are somebody who still does things on the lighter side like fish and chicken and stuff like this, this would be a beautiful accompaniment to it. I usually add cumin. I'm going to add a touch of cumin tonight. This is probably like an eighth of a teaspoon. Mix it in. And ladies and gentlemen, we are just about ready to play. Stan asked me to demo tamales. I would love to do that. You know, in the African diaspora, that is something that takes on so many different names and it's made so many different ways. The component, if we can we go to this camera? My main camera? All over the Caribbean, cornmeal is used as a staple. It's used in sweet preparations. It's used in, Hello, can I have my straight camera, my head camera? Oh, you know what? That's me. My fault. I had the camera pointed down. Wow, Cynthia. So throughout the African diaspora, there are so many tamale-like dishes. In my mother's country, there's one that uses cornmeal and raisins, and it's steamed in a banana leaf. That's a sweet version. You know, throughout Latin America, tamales is the savory version, and it's often stuffed with meat or cheese and things like that. It's very simple, but it's very specific, and you can mess it up if you don't know what you're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlist somebody that I know that makes it really well, so you all can learn how to make tamales. So just a few more minutes on those cauliflower steaks, and we're going to plate them. I'm curious who has been making these dishes. I just mentioned the corn pudding. I know my girlfriend Shauna Randolph has. I think that's so neat. So what she does is the day after I demo something on the show, she makes it the next day for her family. And she's done pretty much everything, and her pictures look amazing. So I would love to see that. I would love to see what you all come up with. You know, and it doesn't have to be just like mine. Mine is kind of like an example, like a template, but you can go whichever way and do whatever you want to do it. And as long as it fits your palate and your family's happy with it, that's all that matters. Okay, let's see. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All right. So we have got our 2 cauliflower steaks. Make sure I don't bun up my hand. Oh, wow. These look good. And so these were hand grilled for 2 minutes on each side. Then I put them in the oven for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And there's several things you can do with this when you're plating it. You could do a really nice spicy tomato sauce on the base. I'm actually going to use a little bit of hummus, so that's going to add a whole new flavor profile. Or you can just serve it by itself with the relish. But we're going to do a little bit of plating this evening. I get a lot of messages about how to plate, and honestly, it's one of those things that you just have to keep working at it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, the clearer vision you have. And you can also always go online and just look up how to plate things. And sometimes, like if I have to do, you know, guacamole, I will Google guacamole plating and I'll go from there. There's so many resources out there. So this looks great. So I've got see the smear of the hummus. I'm going to put this at an angle. That's one of the things about plating. You always want to go at an angle. Okay? So now we've got our beautiful grilled cauliflower steak. See that nice crunchy crusty around the edges and the hummus. And now we are going to put some of our relish on there. So you've got all these great flavors and colors. Make sure we get some of our red tomato on there. Some of our yellow tomato on there. Some of that white feta on there. This looks so yummy. It is 100% plant-based. It is good for you. And it's quick. I'm just going to cut up a little bit of scallion. Give it a little more punch of green. And if you all have noticed, when I do my scallion, I always cut it at an angle and I try to go very thin. That's another this little something that really elevates the look of your dish. And we're just going to drop that over the top. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a cauliflower steak with a Mediterranean relish or salsa and a smear of hummus. There it's there. Let's see if we can see it closer up. How lovely is that? Plant-based deliciousness in under 30 minutes. A cauliflower steak. We've got grape tomatoes. We've got Capistrano olives. We've got some capers, parsley, fresh basil, some Violite feta cheese, a smear of homemade hummus. This is divine. It's good for you. It's relatively inexpensive. I want to see if you all can make this. I'm challenging you to post pictures of this dish. And I tell you what, the person who makes the dish as close to this appearance, I'll send you a set of my spices. Yes, my spices are still around. I've been working in New Orleans, so I've been focusing on something else. But I want to see your pictures. And I'm going to send a set of spices to the person who I think replicates this dish the closest. Okay? I want to know that you've been paying attention to my plating suggestions and all of that stuff. Thank you for joining me on Reclaiming Your Health on this lovely Tuesday evening. I look forward to seeing you all next week. I don't know what I'm going to be cooking. Maybe you all can send me suggestions of what you would like to see. But I want you to know that in this season of thanks, I am so grateful, first of all, for this opportunity to come every week and to share my knowledge and to push myself and to learn. And I thank you for your support. I thank you for tuning in every week. And I thank you for your commitment, obviously, to reclaiming your health. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. I will see you all next Tuesday. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.